everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with a design team post for Scrapping for Less. I'm making a card using the Stamping Bella Uptown Girls collection. Bianca Has a Big Cake. Now, I had this idea for this cake with kind of, I guess, coloring, painting, I don't know exactly what you want to call it, filling in with Nuvo drops. Because when I saw this, I just wanted something that made the icing look like icing and then the filling kind of really look like a filling. And so I practiced with this and I thought it turned out really well. What I did first was I stamped the image. I used the Tim Holtz travel platform. I used Hero Arts Intense Black ink to do the stamping because that's good for alcohol markers. The Copics I chose to do the coloring with were those. And then here you can kind of see where I was playing with the Nuvo drops, and I had some stickles, which I did end up using as well as the Nuvo drops. And I wasn't really sure how this was going to turn out because I thought, especially with doing such a large area, that it might get all mucky looking and kind of run or spread onto the rest of the card. So I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. And I was really, really happy with how it ended up turning out. Now, when I was doing the coloring here, I wasn't too concerned about going over into the lines because I knew I was going to be covering it up with the stickles and the Nuvo drops. The Nuvo drops I ended up using for the icing were glitter drops Sherbet Shimmer, and they're kind of a pink with glitter in there. The stickles I used were Christmas Red, and that I used for the filling, and then just a little dot for the cherry on top of the cake piece that Bianca is holding. I used Crystal Drops in Autumn Red. So after I finished up the coloring on it, like I said, I used the Nuvo drops and I just pretty much filled in all the areas. I tried to kind of level it out a little bit so that you didn't have too high of areas. And then I did end up letting this sit and dry overnight. You really want to make sure that it's completely dry before you start touching it and playing with it and all of that good stuff. And because there's so much on there, it took a while. I used the scan and cut to cut the image out, and it actually did a really good job because I was a little concerned with the different heights because the paper is one size, and then with the Nuvo drops and the stickles on there, you know, it was a little bit different as far as sizing goes. So when you see me here squishing that all through, I kind of had a big area when I kind of outlined it, and then I didn't really squeeze as hard when I was filling in the rest of it, and I just tried to spread out the Nuvo drops around. Now here, after I cut it out with the skin cut, the large part, you know, the main image, I went into all the little places with my X-Acto knife just to cut them out, and that worked out pretty well. I was a little concerned because there was some areas that are really, really tiny, and I didn't want to rip the image, and I used 110-pound Nina Solar White cardstock, so I was a little concerned about how that was going to go, but it ended up working out just fine. I do think that if you would use thinner paper that it probably would buckle the paper, so I would suggest making sure that you use a thick paper if you decide that you want to do something like that with the Nuvo drops. Now you see that big stack of paper that I have there? Those are from the leftovers from my Scrapping for Less kits. I broke down probably about 3/4 of them the other day, and that is what I have left. Now, I make at least 4 cards from each kit. Most of the time I make quite a few more, but at least 4. And I have all of that paper left. So it's kind of cool because I always have something to go back to and to be able to use on other things. Now, I've been getting the Scrapping for Less kits from the 3rd kit that they put out. So I was getting them quite a while before I got onto the design team, which I was super excited about because this is my absolute favorite kit that's out there. I just love all the options that you have with them. So I was going back and forth deciding on whether I wanted to put her on a panel or not, and I decided not to. I ended up using a sentiment from a paper smooches stamp set that I've had for ages. I really like it. It's called Salutations. It has just kind of something for everything: welcome baby, celebrations, sympathy, thanks, birthdays, everything. So I do like having that one. I forgot to hit record when I stamped the sentiment, and then I also heat embossed it with clear embossing powder. I used the VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp that sentiment, and then, like I said, just used the clear embossing powder on it. And then I just put that into a fishtail and used it as a banner, and then I popped it up with some foam tape and I popped it on there. I grabbed my big bag, a handy dandy bag of sequins, and found some red ones that matched. I was trying to go off of the colors that were in the stamped image. After I finished the card, I realized that I didn't put some shadows on the dress, so I ended up going back with C00 and C1 just to put some shadows on that white dress, or the white parts of the dress. And then I also used a black gel pen just to kind of dot the eyes to give it a little more definition. So that's it. I hope everyone enjoyed this, and thanks for joining me. Take care.